Cool. We're live. We're live. Good morning, everybody. Really quickly, I'm going to have to hit the quiet button on my computer over here. Hopefully it will work. Okay, there we go. Okay. Oh my gosh. Good morning, Jodi Kay. Thank you so very much for joining me this morning. I'm going to shrink that down so it's not going to interrupt us. Oh my gosh. Good morning. Welcome. It's Coffee with Christa. I, of course, am your host, Christa Sutton. Thank you so much for tuning in. Those of you that are joining us live, would love to see you. Hashtag live. Those of you that are watching the replay, please hashtag replay. Here's the thing. We're going to be talking about mental wellness, mental health, and I'm so excited to have Jodi Kay on today. We actually connected through LinkedIn, which happens to be one of my new best friends. I still love you, Facebook, I promise. And Jodi Kay is, I'm so excited because she actually is the owner of, would you please share the name of your geriatric care facility? Because I shrunk my screen so I didn't have to listen to it.
Sure, yep. So I am owner and CEO of Midwest Geriatric Consulting Services.
Awesome. So
don't
tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, don't let the word Midwest kind of like throw you off, because I can help anyone from anywhere in the country. I just put Midwest in there because that's where I am located, but I know the system and I can help anybody from anywhere in the country. So awesome. Just to put it in a nutshell, what I do is I help you handle the overwhelming decisions of caring for an elderly loved one with a very simple plan. That's as simple as I can get it. So that's what I do. I help you come up with a plan to help your loved one.
I love that. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for sharing that. So one of the things, as a speaker, as a consultant for mental wellness in the workplace, stress, overwhelm, burnout is a hot topic. It's definitely a hot topic in the space of caregiving. And I really would love to start today's conversation off by having you share a little bit about, today's caregiver and some of the burnout and stress and overwhelm that they're facing, and maybe some ways that some ideas that they can utilize to, help alleviate some of that. They're never going to get rid of it, but to help alleviate it and ramp up some self-care for themselves is always a good idea.
Sure. I'd love to talk about that. So, you know what, being a caregiver in itself is a stressful thing because you have to give up so much. And there's something that I say, it almost sounds cliche, but it's so incredibly important. And people lose sight of this when they're in the midst of caregiving. And that is, you can only take as good of care of that elderly person as you are taking care of yourself. So many caregivers forget about how important it is to take care of yourself. And I'm going to be honest and tell you, I was from that generation. My upbringing taught me that taking care of yourself first was selfish. Mm-hmm. I didn't really understand that until I got into the work field and until I started really caring for other people. And when I started to feel that burnout and when I started to decline, I was not doing my patients any favors. Yeah. I was hurting them more than I was helping them. And that's because I wasn't caring for myself first.
No, I agree 100%. These are conversations I have seriously every day of the week. I'm so grateful that the two, the millennials and the Gen Zers are catching on to this. Oh, wait a minute. I need to take care of me, because if I don't take care of me, I can't take care of anybody or anything else around me effectively. Right. And so it's so important that, yes, definitely self-care has got to be a priority. And I'm with you right there. It took me a lot of years until I figured out, oh, wait a minute, I'm a priority.
Exactly. So let's talk about overwhelm just a little bit, and especially in the caregiver role. So I like to break things down and dissect them. It helps me understand a little bit better. So the definition of overwhelm, if you look it up in the dictionary, is to cause someone to feel sudden, strong emotion. Okay. Mm-hmm. So that's what overwhelm is. Like, maybe you're caring for your loved one and they spit their pills out and you just have this strong emotion, like, I don't know why they keep doing that. Suddenly you feel overwhelmed. because you have a sudden emotional impact. Okay. So when you can recognize that and remember that definition of overwhelm, it's going to be easier to control. So if we go a little bit further, I want us to think about overwhelm, and overwhelm is actually a mindset. Mm-hmm. We can get caught in that wheel of overwhelm. We can get caught in that mindset. So everything seems to be overwhelming. So if we even think about that even just a little bit further, a mindset is a conscious thought. It's in your conscious mind. And if you think about overwhelm, and if you let overwhelm overpower your thought process, it's going to fall down into your subconscious brain. Mm-hmm. And that's where you're going to be feeling all of these yuck emotions, and it's going to be hurting you more than helping you. And then it's going to come out in your results. So you're going to snap at your loved one. You're going to be short with other people. You're not going to take care of yourself. So it really starts way at the top at recognizing when overwhelm hits. I think that is so important. And when you can have the awareness that I'm feeling overwhelmed right now because she spit her pills out and I can't take it anymore, and you recognize that overwhelm. So I'm going to give you a little tool here. When you can recognize that you're feeling overwhelmed, you have a choice to make. And that choice is up to you, and no one else can make that choice. You can choose to be the person that is a judge of yourself. And think of that word judge. Even the sound of that word is harsh in a way. You can be a judge, and you can say, I don't know why she keeps spitting out those pills. She should be taking those pills. And I shouldn't be feeling this way because this is my loved one. And I don't want, I'm frustrated. So that is judgmental. That is negative. That's going to pull you down further. We're going to talk a little bit more about that in just a second. Or I suggest that when you recognize and acknowledge that I'm feeling overwhelmed right now, that you pause and you say to yourself, I wonder why I'm really feeling this way. That, in my mind, is compassion. That's showing yourself self-respect and love. You're pausing and you're going, I wonder why. Then if you get that mindset, if you get that thought process rolling, you can explore why you're feeling that way, and you can maybe even find some ways to even help. You can find solutions. So you have a choice. Once you identify overwhelm, you can be mean. You can be a judge to yourself. I shouldn't be, I should, she shouldn't. Or you can be compassionate and say, let's explore this further. Let's look into this and let's find some solutions.
I absolutely love that. You know, it's going to be an amazing coffee with Christa when I'm taking notes. I'm taking notes. And I love that. And it's so important, that mindset and that level of awareness, just having the, honestly, emotional intelligence level to just stop and unpack it, even for just a second or two.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Where's this really coming from? Yeah. Did I not get enough sleep last night? Is it in the evening and you're tired? There's a million different reasons. We all have our reasons, but sometimes, just like you said, acknowledging this is where it's really coming from gives you that pause and that moment to just take a breath.
Yep. Just pause.
I absolutely love that. I do. I absolutely love that. I actually, yesterday, because I have 12 million things going on in my life, I changed the face of my watch, and it's a breathe app. So the lotus flower opens and closes, so I can just take a second and breathe. I highly recommend it. It's actually quite cool and helps you just pause.
Mm-hmm. And this sounds really kind of hokey a little bit, but I honestly do this when I recognize and acknowledge overwhelm. and I pause and I literally say, huh, that's interesting. That slows my overwhelm
Uh-huh.
down. It puts the brakes on it like crazy. But I literally do, huh, that's interesting. I
And
wonder
it
why I'm feeling that
also
way.
puts you in a third person frame of mind. So you have the ability to look at it, because we get so stuck in the can't read the label inside the bottle that it's, oh, well, that's interesting.
Mhm.
And turn it around and look at it from the third person. I absolutely love that. And I'm just going to tell you, nothing you say can sound hokey, because hokey is awesome. So as long as hokey means something amazing and fabulous and wonderful, I'm totally always down for it.
Yeah.
So I love that.
Yeah.
I do. I love that. I recommend that as well.
So I want to go back to where we're in that judgmental state,
Mhm.
because that's typically where most people are. And that is a paradigm or a habit that we've developed over years and years and years of repetition.
Mhm.
You know what, this is how we think. So it's going to take a little bit to break that. And this is what I want to point out. I really want to point out, every time you say I should or I shouldn't, that puts you at risk at blame or shame.
Yep.
So just really focus and listen to the words that you're speaking. So let's go back to the pill analogy. She spit her pills out. She shouldn't be doing that. She shouldn't be spitting out her pills because she needs those pills to keep healthy. So let's break that down a little bit. So when you say she shouldn't, you are placing blame
Mhm.
on her. So that's the negative side. So if you say she shouldn't be spitting out her pills, but instead you say, huh, that's interesting. I wonder why she's spitting out her pills. Maybe they taste terrible. Maybe, and explore it a little bit, but do you see
Mhm.
the difference?
Oh, it's a huge difference.
Yeah. And you
Huge
can even
difference.
go as far as like, I shouldn't feel this way about my loved one. She's driving me crazy. I shouldn't feel that way. Huh. Isn't that interesting? I wonder why I'm feeling this way. Let's think
Mhm.
about it. So
I
I
love
just,
that.
yeah, yeah. And you can apply it to any example.
Oh, most definitely. And I love my clients. I share this with clients all the time. I say it all the time. The 11th commandment is thou shalt not should on thyself. Should is a dangerous word.
Mhm.
Very, very, very dangerous word, because like you just said, it sets up blame or shame.
Yeah. Or you know what? Let's take it even a step further, because the caregivers that are listening to this, just to show you how you can apply it to other areas of your life. I should lose 10 pounds.
Mhm.
I should lose 10 pounds. So if I have that thought, I should lose 10 pounds.
Mhm.
And if I don't do it, I am shaming myself because I
Yep.
didn't do it.
Blame and shame. What's wrong with me?
Mhm. Yep.
Mhm.
Yep. So
No, I agree with that 110%. I absolutely love that you shared that in this, in this space. So thank you for that. So and I have a very dear friend of mine who actually recently just sold her caregiving business. She had the business for many, many, many years, made the decision to sell it. And just because of all of the stress and all of the things that are attached to it, I totally understand that. When I say those of us, I'm not currently a caregiver. For those who are caregivers, there are necessary stressors. They're not even necessary. That isn't the word that I want to use. Almost unavoidable. I think that's fair to say. Not every single thing can be changed by a mindset switch, although most of them can be alleviated. So what are, in addition to the self-care ideas, the pause, the step back, the reframe for caregivers, what are some ways that you found work really well to help them stay focused? I know one, in having conversations with friends of mine that are caregivers, they sometimes have a hard time separating the relationship and the job, for lack of a better word. I'm a caregiver, but I'm a daughter.
Mhm.
I'm a caregiver, but I'm a sister.
Mhm. Mhm.
What are some, give us some insights on how they can kind of help, not necessarily separate the two of them, but be able to focus on the caregiving piece when the emotions show up.
Sure, sure. So what I do recommend several things. First thing, and this is a habit that can be difficult to develop, but once you get it, it is absolutely incredible. Take 5 or 10 minutes every morning, the minute your eyes open, and just get into a state of gratitude. Don't think about anything else other than what you're grateful for. So here's a really interesting story about that. I actually do a gratitude timer. It's on YouTube. I love it. It's only 10 minutes and I do it every morning.
Nice.
And I've been doing it for quite a while. And I bumped into a pastor that I know in JCPenney. I bumped right into him. And he is from South Africa. Wonderful, wonderful man. And I was telling him about this. And I said to him, I said, the first time I did that, I had a hard time coming up with 10 things that I was grateful for.
Mm-hmm.
If you've never done it before, to really stop and think about 10 things. And I will never forget it. He just went like this, shut his eyes and shook his head. And he said, you people, because Americans,
Yeah.
take so much for granted.
Yes.
We don't think about, oh, I appreciate that. My air conditioning is working today.
Mm-hmm.
I had a great breakfast. So really just stopping and beginning your day with gratitude helps set the tone for the rest of the day. So
May I tag on to that?
Sure. Absolutely.
One of the, I love that you shared that, because it's so true. We take so many things for granted, and it's so easy to take things for granted. Unfortunately, one of the things that I started to, as a part of my gratitude, I found myself in the every morning that I'm thankful for my home. I'm thankful for, thankful for my husband. I'm thankful for my kids. I'm thankful for, blah, 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 blah. And it kind of became, I didn't have the emotion attached to it. You've got to have the emotion, true gratitude. If you're just reading stuff off a list or writing stuff down because someone told you to, it's not going to work. And so I had a client, this was years ago, like 10, 12 years ago, who was he was so in a place of struggle with gratitude. And I suggested to him, I just kind of pop quizzed him in the middle of nowhere. I said, what are you grateful for right now? Well, my wife, no, right now, this very second, what are you grateful for right now? Just don't even think. And he's like, I'm really grateful that I'm on a call with you because I was having a rough time and I needed to be able to talk to you. I'm glad that the call was scheduled for right now. Awesome. Write that down. What's something else you're grateful for? What's something else? Just the silliest things.
Yeah.
But they carry the most genuine gratitude. And I do the same thing very first thing in the morning. And I write down, right now, I'm grateful for. And some mornings it's coffee, chirping birds. Okay, every morning it's coffee, but coffee and quiet and chirping birds and whatever you are grateful for in the moment. I actually take a little bit of mental health self-care for myself in the afternoons. I drive for Lyft because I work from home. This is where I work, and I'm a little on the extroverted side and I need people. And I have started, while it's great to do it first thing in the morning, I would also recommend anytime when it's quiet, there's no one in my car and I'm driving around. Like yesterday, I'm just like, oh my gosh, thank you for the trees and thank you for hawks and thank you for whatever. That we have a business that I drove by that they have the funniest puns and stuff on their sign, and they always make me laugh. And I'm like, thank you for ridiculously silly dad joke humor that I love. It makes my day. You want to ramp up your gratitude. What are you grateful for right now? So I'm so grateful that you shared that.
Yeah. The other thing that I connect with my gratitude in the morning. And this is very powerful. And I think that any caregiver can really take this to heart and really think about it and really incorporate it into their morning routine. And that is, I think of 3 people who are bothering me. And I think of them, and I take a minute and I send them genuine love. So if you are caring for your elderly loved one and something is really bothering you, think about that exact situation, that exact thing, and send love to it. I can't tell you how that melts away the angst, the anxiety, and all the negative things. So that is so helpful.
Powerful. It's all about energy. It's all about energy, the energy you create within yourself that you send to others. That is, oh, I love that. Thank you for sharing that.
Yep.
I love it. I love it.
And something else that a lot of caregivers don't understand, because they aren't in the healthcare system and they're not in that, like, what's actually available. But if your loved one has insurance, has Medicare, let's just use Medicare as an example, you've got respite days that you can use. A lot of assisted livings now have apartments set aside for respite care that they can go to for 1 week, 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, so you can take a break.
That is amazing.
And
I did not know that.
I say that because nursing homes do it too, of course. But I wanted to say that because most people don't realize that assisted livings do that. And that is such a, it's a non-clinical kind of an atmosphere, and it's not the nursing home where it's so depressing. So look into that and find out if you are able to utilize, maybe if your aging loved one has some long-term insurance, maybe there's a benefit there too. So check that out too for respite.
Oh, wow.
So
that's so good to know. I had no idea about that. Thank you for sharing that.
So if your loved one does not have the benefit for assisted living, you can utilize the Medicare benefit for a nursing home respite stay. You can. And you can make it comfortable and cozy for a week or 2. You can do that. But that is just to take care of you, so you can collect your thoughts and get back to the best caregiver that you can be.
Oh my gosh, thank you for sharing that. I had no idea. So, and I love that caregiving now, the way that it's done has changed so drastically that there are thankfully people like you out there who can help others navigate all of the things. I did want to ask you, because I actually experienced this with a friend of mine not very long ago, is things don't always go according to plan, and sometimes the overwhelm can just be a bit too much. At what time or how do you go about looking at, in the course of care, maybe making adjustments or changing the care plan, or what does that look like? I'm sure you run into that quite a bit.
Sure. Yep. So even before you even think about, is it time? The first step, the very first thing that you should do is have someone picked out, someone that you know that you're going to be able to trust, someone that you are going to be able to go to. So have that person already chosen before a crisis hits. So I think that's the number one thing. So if you are really finding yourself in a state of constant overwhelm and you're just not able to get in control of that, and you can see that things are declining for you and your loved one, because both are going to be affected by your overwhelm, then it is time. It's time to talk to somebody to see what options there are. Maybe there's just some simple adjustments that you didn't know about that we can make, and we can get you through a little while longer. And maybe if someone would call me, I could do a quick functional assessment and determine whether or not living at home is truly the best thing. You know, a lot of us get caught in that trap of, but I promised them that I would never send them to a nursing home. I've got to do this. But is that really helping? And that's something that I can talk through with you. We can assess that together. We can come to a conclusion together and really work out a really good and helpful plan for the both of you.
Awesome. I
So
love that.
yeah, those are.
So don't stay stuck. Don't stay stuck. Don't
Oh.
stay frustrated. Reach out.
Yes.
Get help. Have conversations. I love that.
And I want to say this too. This is important. You always are free to call your senior centers, your county. Here in Wisconsin, we call it the Aging and Disability Resource Center. They're named a little bit differently throughout the states, but just call the Human Services and ask for the senior care department. And they should be able to give you some ideas too. But here's the thing. Here's the thing about that. They are wonderful. They are a wealth of resources. But if your loved one has a little bit of money, they're going to be a little bit slower in helping you because they are bogged down with folks that need medical assistance, that they need crisis care. That's what they get bogged down with. And that's where someone like me really can step in and help you quickly.
Nice. And please make sure before we wrap this party up that everyone knows how they can get a hold of you.
Sure.
I appreciate all of this information. So stress. The whole conversation has been about stress levels and overwhelm and burnout and all of the things that all of us experience, but it takes a completely different form in the realm of caregiving. One area that I know I've experienced in my family, one area that I know of that can be ridiculously stressful, especially when it comes to that division between, as we mentioned earlier, caregiver and family member, is having these difficult conversations and when and how to have them with your aging loved ones. You want to honor their wishes. You want to do the best thing. What are some ways that we can potentially maybe alleviate some of the stress or prepare for these conversations so it can feel a little unraveling?
Sure, that's a very good question. So difficult conversations are always best had before the crisis hits. Yeah. Have a game plan. Talk about the tough issues before things happen. And you mentioned you want to grant their wishes. You want to be able to do what they want to do. Absolutely, 100%. So maybe the easiest way to get that conversation started is actually filling out a power of attorney for healthcare.
Okay.
Having that document in place and having them fill that out, reflecting every wish, every thought that they have. So start there. That's a good way to start. Because for some people that is scary, because that is maybe we're kind of preparing for death in a way. And so that alone can be an overwhelming thought for some people.
So a quick question along those lines before you take it further is, I think for many people, just the whole getting an attorney involved thing, that can set off some big overwhelm. Are there any, what are some of the best resources for those that might be, looking at a budget that might be, there are a lot of you out there. I know you because I am you that want to do it yourself, even though that's not always the best option. What would you recommend? Are there good resources, at least to get started, maybe gather your thoughts so that you're prepped to take it to an attorney?
Yep. So funny thing is, a power of attorney for healthcare does not need an attorney.
Oh, really? See, I'm just learning all kinds of stuff. Did not know that.
Yep. It really depends on the state.
Okay.
I don't have one right here, but so you can just go online, and I highly recommend going to the Respecting Choices website.
Okay.
And they have a form that you can download and print.
Oh, fantastic. Would you be so kind before we wrap up to post that in the comments?
I can do that. Sure. Yeah. And so depending on the state, and this is where it's going to take just a little bit of homework on your end, or you can contact me too, and I can do it for you, is in Wisconsin, it only takes 2 witnesses to make it a legal document. So the witnesses cannot be medical.
Okay.
And they cannot be family.
Oh, okay. That's good to know.
So go grab 2 neighbors and have them witness. Yep. And then it's a legal document. Now, in some states, it does require a notary.
Okay.
So it's going to be one of the 2. And then you have a legal document.
Nice.
Yeah. So I highly recommend that, because that is really going to get some conversation started.
Okay.
Another thing is really take a look at the situation that you're in and have that discussion of, you know what, I really care about you. I really love you. You know what, you deserve right now to live your best life. You're right here. This is your best life right now. Let me help you make it your best life. Let's, you know what, let's go visit some assisted livings. Let's go take a look at some of them. Let's get the vibe. Let's feel the heartbeat of the facility, because they all feel differently. They truly do. And
they do.
Let's find one that you might fit in at some point. That doesn't mean you're moving tomorrow. That means that we're talking about the situation before a crisis happens. You know, I was a hospital inpatient discharge planner on an ortho neuro unit for a very long time. So lots of hip fractures with the elderly, lots of strokes that I had to deal with. And, you know, just to help families work through, like, they've been caring for their loved one at home, and now suddenly they fell, and now they have a hip fracture, and now they have to go to a rehab center. And right there, huge overwhelm, because they didn't talk about it. They never had the discussion. You know, what are we going to do if you fall, if you have a stroke, if talk about anything that you can think of. It is just going to relieve so much stress when a crisis actually happens.
Yeah. Have a plan.
Yeah.
Have a plan.
You have a fire exit plan from your home. So have a plan for if a crisis happens with your loved one.
I love that. I could not agree more. Oh my gosh, I have loved getting to hang out here and just, I've got like a whole page of notes. So all kinds of great stuff. I'm very, very blessed. My parents have their plan is in place. I'm the emotional child. I have no say in anything. I just get to show up and be the emotional child. I'm so grateful for that. By the way, Mom and Dad, when you watch this later, thank you for that. Appreciate it. Darren and Tammy got it under control. And I really do appreciate just some of the insight that you were able to share, because these are things that I had never heard of. And I'll guarantee you, many people that are, you know, watching this, whether they're on live, watching the replay later, catching it on YouTube, at some point are going to find a ton of value in this. Really quickly, I am going to post the link for us to take this party over into Clubhouse. So those of you that are watching live, you have questions, you want to get to know Jodi Kay, jump on over in Clubhouse as soon as we wrap up this interview. But before we do that, Jodi, would you please let people know where they can find you?
Sure. So to really understand what I do as an independent geriatric consultant, I highly recommend that you visit my website, www.midwestgeriatricconsultingservices.com. I know it's long, but that domain was available. So and I'll post that too in the comments.
I'm on it.
Yep. I also have a Facebook group. That group is specially for caregivers. I encourage you. I talk about difficult things in there. Sometimes we go live. I do interviews with other professionals in the field. That is, again, Midwest Geriatric Consulting Services. It's my Facebook group. You can find me on Facebook, Jodi Slamp, JodiSlamp. Benusa, Benusa, and you can find me there, and I can help direct you to that group. But that group is totally about supporting you. That's all I do. And then if you are a professional, you can find me on LinkedIn as well. So
Fantastic.
That's where you find me.
Awesome. Thank you so much for hanging out this morning, for
Yeah.
sharing all of this amazing information. I just posted your website in the comments, as well as the link for people to join us on Clubhouse. So we are going to wrap this party up. Thank you again, Jodi, for hanging out with us here today, me, whatever. I just really, truly do appreciate you. Looking forward to continuing the conversation over in Clubhouse. So for those of you, Christa Sutton here, thank you for tuning in, watching Coffee with Christa. I have a relatively decent sized list of people coming up. So starting this week, expect weekly, whether it's Tuesday or Thursday at 9 a.m. Mountain Time, to be able to tune in right here live on Facebook. And then of course you can find it on YouTube at Coffee with Christa. You can also find me on LinkedIn at Christa Sutton Coach, as well as Instagram, same handle, and Clubhouse at Christa Sutton. So thanks again so much, everybody, for tuning in. And thanks again, Jodi. And we will be seeing you guys again really soon. You guys take care of you. The world needs you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Take care of you, everybody. Bye.
Bye-bye.